This is another question I wanted to ask related to Comcast. And so when they had all of us contacting them to, for example, when we had a problem with our internet service, they would, uh, eventually they would tell us to call up the company. And then, for example, with the internet, they would tell us to unplug the modem from the wall, then unscrew the cord from the wall, and then wait for like 30 seconds. Some of them would say a longer time, and then plug it back in, and then screw the cable back in. And so everybody was doing that. That got really popular. And so what I was wondering with that, did that create an artificial views and hits to the Comcast website when they were doing that? Because um, eventually Comcast moved their call center to a place outside of the United States. So they were doing the same thing. And I know one of the very last cruises that I ever took, there was an American woman and she was doing a call center job on the ship before we left the shores. Otherwise, she would get charged international charges for calling from the ship. So, for example, everyone who had cell phones thought when you're on the cell phone and you're on an American ship, which most of them are not flagged American, they're flagged foreign. Except, so when they're docked, they get American charges, but when they leave the shores, they were getting these outrageous bills for roaming charges. And so typically someone who at that time they might pay the $50 a month for one person or something like that, or they would have the data use a limited data usage. Um, and then when they left the shores, then it would come back and their data was showing up that they had like $1,200 or $1,500 because of data usage because they left the United States. I have to ask the question, well, so these people from other countries who come to the United States now and they're getting American phones, but they're not getting foreign data charges because they are American phones. But then when you leave the country, um, well, that's like with long distance, even here in the United States, because it was based on distance for how far you called, like with AT&T and the Bell South or whatever those other countries are, then the further the call was away, you got charged more.